What up, and welcome to another episode of the Fortnite Podcast. Your host here, Monster D-Face, bringing you your weekly installment of Fortnite news, competitive content, updates, and everything happening in the Fortnite universe. This week, if you're looking at the title of today's episode, guys, you gotta talk about the fact that Epic is, pushing the train off the rails here. They have their community in an absolute uproar over the V-Bucks price changes, which came randomly on any given day of the week here. So you never really know what we're going to get hit with and where the game is headed. But settle down, settle down. If you are here for, of course, your weekly content, we thank you guys for checking in with us. As always, y'all have been a wonderful addition, especially the new users that we've seen jump into the episodes every single week. So hopefully y'all continue to share this thing, check in with us, and interact with us. We also have a discord.gg/podcast place where we will put all of our reference news as well in the hashtag Fortnite news section. So if you want to follow along, you can go ahead and do that there. Well, with that being said, we thank you guys for, of course, listening on your favorite platforms, whatever platform that may be. I would not name them as I do not want to trigger any home devices, but let's get into things. So as usual, I got my boy here, SBG. What's up, brother?
What's going on? Thank you everybody for commenting your last meals. We'll go over some of those towards the end. But today's quick question is coming from one of our comments on Spotify today. So, new any list goes, who would you want to come back to Fortnite? So, if you could pick any one player that has left Fortnite, who would you want to come back?
Man, this is actually a hard question. It's a great question. This one I feel like, oh, I gotta dig into my brain a little bit here. Who would I want to come back? Okay, this is gonna sound no. I don't want him. I really don't want him to come back. Never mind. I was gonna say my boy Connor, because I love rooting for Connor. Whenever I broadcasted and I saw Connor like make his way through a last chance qualifier. If you guys don't know, Connor is and was a professional Fortnite player who helped kind of start and pioneer the scrim scene with me way back when. And then he eventually became a co-founder with me on the practice server, the business side, before he quit. But he always hated that I called him the worst of the best players because he was never top 10, but he was like easily top 80. You know what I mean? Like he's like so good, but he's way down there on the so good totem pole. I love him. I love rooting for him when I did see him on there. But yeah, no, I don't want him to come back. I wouldn't want him to come back. I want someone like Mitro, someone who's just like a top dog that we saw so much of, but then like what feels to me like not enough of. Like we only got like a good year or 2 years of what feels like them at the peak, like stardom, and then they disappeared. I don't know. Mitro kind of is the second other name that comes like straight to my mind for that reason. So that's where I'm at. Yo, great question, SBG. I've rambled enough. I'm sure you had a time, a good little second to think about a good player to come back. Who do you think you'd like to see come back?
Yeah, I always go to the big brains, but again, I don't know that I would want like 72 hours or Z chat
Right.
come back because I hope they're like happy with what is going on in their life. And I don't know that at this stage, Fortnite would be best for them. So thinking about it that way, um, I kind of want like a controller goat to come back.
Mm.
Like Miro, Unknown Army, CRR, one of those players. We don't have any like good
He's so
controller players anymore. No, I wouldn't. No, he doesn't get to go on that.
no.
Nah,
I thought he
I'm
was
still
only
talking about with good players.
I thought he was only kicked out because he had that bad hand, so we never really got to see his peak, right? He was going through chronic issues. I don't know.
I guess that's fair. Um, but yeah, if I had to pick one, I mean, Miro probably doesn't count because he like still kind of plays the game. So Unknown Army, like I have zero idea what Unknown Army is doing with his life, but bro revolutionized controller gameplay.
Well, guys, you could leave your comments down in the Spotify section. Let us know. Maybe let me phrase it maybe a little differently. As SVG said something really good. Miro is like washed because he doesn't practice. Who would you want to see lock all the way in? Like if you can see the best version of this one player, maybe it's your favorite existing player, maybe it's someone who retired or quit a little early. who would that person be for you? We'll check them out next week on the Spotify comment section. Well, again, thank you guys for checking out these episodes. Every single week we have a little fun segment courtesy of SBG, who brings the brings a little spark of new touch to every single episode. Well, we want to jump straight into the topic so that we're here to talk about SPG. We want to get straight to it, because this one right here, man, I'm sure there's a lot of opinions, even for the listeners at home. We have thousands of y'all that kind of download these episodes, check in with us, and you guys, I would argue, are probably way more active in game than surely I am. I know that for certain. And if you're just a passerby like me who follows the content from the outside, I mean, I would still love to know what you think about this, because Epic has come out of nowhere and decided to raise the average cost per V-Buck, this virtual currency in the game, across the entire ecosystem of their Fortnite product. And they did this in a very, I don't want to say blunt, but kind of a sneaky way. They lowered the total cost of the actual thing you have to buy, but are giving you in return less V-Bucks per dollar spent. So instead of spending $10, hey, you'll spend $8.99, but the amount of V-Bucks you'll get in return is going to be a lot less. And they didn't say anywhere in this, arrangement that, oh, this price of skins are going to get reflected downwards and stuff like that as well. No, no, everything else is staying the same as you know it. You're just going to literally have to spend more. And I mean, somebody's gun. This caused a huge, huge conversation to start breaking out online, and people are just really not happy at all right now.
Yeah, the general consensus was this is terrible, you're greedy, and like people went back and found old tweets about Fortnite saying like, "Oh, don't worry, we won't raise prices." And then of course they like came back were like, "Well, this tweet was in reference to raising the battle pass." But like if the battle pass still costs the same number of V-bucks, then you inherently raise the price of the battle pass. This doesn't go into effect. So before like we go on our rant, like actual actionable advice for you guys at home.
Load up.
March 19th is when this goes into effect. So the new season comes out a week from today. Today's March 12th. You have 1 week to maximize your V-Bucks before they become more expensive. So if you plan to buy the Battle Pass regardless, do that. Get the V-Bucks ahead of time so that you don't have to pay slightly more, would be my advice, because they're not going back down. Now, back to the situation at hand. The post basically says, I'm reading verbatim what they have on their website. The cost of running Fortnite has gone up a lot, and we're raising prices to help pay the bills. Here's what's changing on March 19th. So they show the pricing, and it's basically 50 cents more per 50 V-Bucks is kind of the translation. Um, And then they kinda like, "Oh, this caveat, if you buy stuff directly through the Epic Games Store or Epic Games payment system, we'll give you some Epic rewards back." Don't know how much you have used that, but basically you buy stuff in Fortnite, Fall Guys, Rocket League, you get a little bit of Epic rewards back, which is kinda nice. I've actually gotten enough to buy more V-Bucks. So in addition, the battle pass will now cost 800 V-bucks and award 800 V-bucks for completing it. It used to cost 1,000 and you could earn 1,000 V-bucks plus 500 in bonus rewards. So this was also another thing people were pissed about is not only okay, yes, so the battle pass will cost technically about the same amount, but you get less V-bucks in return, and I don't think skin prices are changing. So now you get pretty much less skins for free per season. And they go on to like all the OG and music and Lego, Fortnite crew, also is going to reflect it. So very interesting changes. And obviously the community was pretty pissed off because nobody likes to pay more for the same thing.
Yeah, and I find it fascinating that they would go on to just outline very transparently, like, "Hey, by the way, we're gonna give you less in the battle pass, and we're gonna give you less in your crew pass too, and we're gonna give you less just in general, but don't worry about it. This is for you and for us." Like, nah, bro. Like, for that, you shouldn't even said anything about the battle pass. I'm sure most people wouldn't have noticed until it was too late, and they someone actually sat down and thought about it, like, "Oh, wait a second, did I only get
People would
a
never.
1,000 V-bucks for the rewards?" I doubt someone's gonna go in there and add it all up, but hey, man, guys, this is really interesting. We saw some takes out there. The takes were, I felt like, completely ignorant. Everyone has their own, like, bias lens as who and why this is all happening. On one side of the community, you have folks pointing straight to Epic Games saying this is corporate greed. On the other side, you have folks from the UEFN community saying it's the guys at the top spending all the money to get inside a sponsored row, and they're taking all the money from Epic. We need to cut their dollars off. You're paying creators too much money. And then you have this other, arguably maybe more sane take that no, guys, it's just AI infrastructure costs so much more money now, and data centers cost more. And Epic's kind of in this race, if you will, to have a live server offering. And that's going to cost so much money because infrastructure is so expensive right now, given the direction that the world is heading in. So there's all these arguments going on here. Out of all the takes, SPG, what do you think is now the reasoning for the V-bucks going up? Because at this point, it could really be anything.
So I don't think it's UEFN. Like literally, we just introduced sponsored row, which gives Epic more money. We just introduced V-bucks, which gives Epic more like V-buck payments inside UEFN games, which gives Epic more money.
Yep.
And those were money that was not coming in previously. So if anything, UEFN has brought more money to Epic Games. Yes, I know the payments, like the percentages aren't good for Epic in this first year, but I think they're smart enough to realize it's not just a 1 year kind of deal. So I'm going to throw out UEFN being the main component. I don't think it's corporate greed based on the actions of Tim Sweeney over the course of, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years at this point. I don't think he's super interested on like, oh, we need to do all this and I need billions of dollars. Like, I don't think that guy is doing that. He literally just keeps buying land in North Carolina to just sit there and preserve it as wildlife preserves. So he's not a guy that like cares a ton about being super wealthy. Now, there's other owners like Tencent and Disney. They may be pushing for higher profit margins, but know for a fact Tim Sweeney owns the majority stake and he can push them off if he wants to. So then it goes to, are the costs actually higher? And I think that's indisputably true. I think they laid off a bunch of staff and then that was what, the end of 24, we saw them lay off a huge chunk of staff. And then over 25, they basically just got back to the size, if not bigger, than where they were when they laid off a bunch of people. And so staff, super expensive. All the technology components of running any sort of server, the distribution, the actual like development of it, those will skyrocket. I don't know if you guys have looked at like computer part components prices over the past like 2 years. It is ridiculous because of the AI stuff. And then also the price of energy has gone up. So like all of your inputs have basically increased and now you're stuck doing this. And I I don't like it. No one likes to be charged more. It kind of sucks. But at the end of the day, Epic really could have just started raising skin prices like slowly in game. So like skins that used to cost 1250 or yeah, let's say 1250 now cost 13 or 1400 and then never said anything about it. And you're paying more, but you don't necessarily realize it. At least this way, they're being transparent about it and being like, "Yo, I this sucks. We don't want to have to do this, but we kind of need to make some more money to pay for what we want to do with our game." Um, and at the end of the day, if you want to play their game, you got to deal with it. And also, you don't need to buy V-Bucks. Like,
Yeah, that's the other
no
side.
point do you need to pay any money to play Fortnite. So you're getting this free massive game with all these other options. You could play so many different UEFN maps, which are pretty much their own games at this point. You can play BR, Reload, Save the World's about to come for free, and we can talk about that later. But at the end of the day, they can do what they want. It is their business, and this is what they feel is best. I hate being the corporate shill because it does suck. I don't want to pay more. But nonetheless, it is what it is.
Well, I think that's the funniest part is all this outrage, and it's like, guys, you don't have to buy virtual cosmetics. Like, you guys realize you are freaking out, talk about boycotting the game, not playing the game. I mean, even Courage JD, someone who just recently got an icon skin, felt compelled enough to point to this situation and even blame, he was one of the few that was looking at UEFN and all those other situations happening in the game and in the ecosystem and saying, yeah, we don't need those things. Like, don't raise the V-Bucks. This is bad for the community, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what do we talk about here? This is a complete opt-in opportunity here to buy V-Bucks and support the game that you love to play for free, by the way, guys. SPG just rattled off themes inside the game that you can play 100 different games of each of the themes at any given time, like whether it's battle royales, creative, or otherwise collaborative, obviously game modes. So that's crazy. My opinion, I think there's political pressure here. And I'll just say this. There is this recent initiative happening, in America where America is trying to push out Tencent, which is a Chinese owned company, and make them divest out of their American company opportunities. And this is some big level, high level stuff happening. And I think, and this is my personal opinion, Epic Games sees the writing on the wall that, whoa, 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 we are deeply embedded with Tencent as an investor and maybe other opportunities as investments. And they are depending on all that revenue that they've accepted from them and put into the business and help scale the business and maybe even owe them. Who knows? And if something happens at a political level where Epic actually has to return capital back to these investors or figure out a way to buy these guys out of these situations, they are likely not in the position to do so. And they need to raise money yesterday. And that is why, in my opinion, again, the CEO is probably thinking, well, I don't want to give away all my equity in the business, right? Like I've managed to maintain this, but what can you do when this is a whole outside element that is out of your control, right? And you will have to do your judiciary responsibility and pay back maybe some investors. Yeah, you need a lot of money, and Epic needs money fast. So that's my opinion. I think this is much bigger than just like, oh, it's expensive to run the game and employees and stuff like that. All of that is absolutely true, but I do think there's the potential that there's something bigger at play here that they need a lot of capital. Because to me, this is not a small change. It's a very drastic change. I mean, they flat changed everything across the board overnight. Like, yep, next week, by the way, battle pass, crew pass, like everything you pay for is going up. Stop there, period. And we've seen even Reddit moderators, someone took a clip of someone who responded inside of a thread. They didn't even acknowledge the fact that the V-Bucks are going up. They were just like, don't worry, guys. A lot of stuff is cooking, like trying to make you forget about it. So, yeah, to me, this might be a bigger play. And if you think what I'm saying is like not possible, just look at what America did with TikTok. They literally forced the Chinese company to essentially say, nope, give America pretty much majority ownership and all the information of all the American involvement, right? Customers' involvement here. We need to see it and we want the algorithm now. And eventually, 1 year later, that's exactly what happened. Like, America basically can do whatever they want. And there's this very high political tension essentially with China. So that's my opinion. And I think Epic understands that. And they've played enough of these legal, you know, the game of Monopoly, if you will, against the big juggernauts. They're in that sphere. And I think our boy Tim Sweeney's like, yeah, we're at risk here. We need money.
It's a really good point. I did not think about that, and especially if that information is coming out publicly, there's probably been conversations behind closed doors, and I would assume Tim Sweeney and his team have done a little bit of preliminary research, and he's like, I don't really love the potential investors in this right now because Tencent owns like a fairly, I want to say it's like 30% or
It's a
some
lot.
significant chunk of Epic Games.
And they bought in early too. Like, this was years ago. Like, 2018, 19, 2019, we're talking like Tencent has this big stake in it before Disney came along, I believe. So imagine the value of that from then till now has, I mean, it was a great investment. Tencent, GG's to you. I'm sure you've probably 5x'd, since then, whatever $1 billion you put in.
And then the second thing you also mentioned was, well, we have massive lawsuits that went against the biggest companies in the world and probably spent millions of dollars doing so. Um, and we even have Tim Sweeney himself saying, like, I don't care what the cost of these is, like, we're going to continue to fight for what I believe is right. So, regardless of what you think of his like opinions of who we're fighting and what we're doing, he's gonna do it anyway.
Yep.
So I pulled this up. According to Grok, Tencent owns 28%, Tim Sweeney owns 41.4, and then Disney owns 9%, Sony has 5.4. So there's a fairly large ownership by other people. Um it could have been larger. It says at like 40% or so. Um but that was back in 2022. So it's interesting um what could have happened, right? There could have been small buyouts either way over the course of the past few years.
Yeah, and imagine if in the arrangement, again, there could be a world where the way the structure's set up, if Tencent had to divest out of it, that 28% opens up to the entire board. Now all of a sudden you have someone like Disney maybe has having the ability to step in and take a bulk of this share, and now they have even more say in the direction or whatever, their vested interest in the game. Guys, all I say is at the investor level, I mean, we're talking some big power plays here. And if it was serious and Tencent was forced to basically divest out, who knows how many companies might collapse under that pressure, um, or find themselves in a very sticky situation. A lot of these different entities are very much dependent on their investor pipelines and the relationships that come with it. So guys, V-Bucks price changes. That was my take. Sorry, I probably caught y'all all off guard. Like, holy crap, what's going on over there? Yeah, don't watch the news, y'all. If you don't know, you don't know. It's all good. But there's more changes happening inside of Fortnite. We have another big change actually inside the creative space, and this one is one for the better. But once again, the moment Epic says something, guys, these creators take the time to immediately jump in and they want results right away. And what we're talking about here is Fortnite finally deciding that they're going to combat spam map uploading for creators inside of the UEFN rows. This is one that I think is long overdue and probably should have been nipped way sooner. But essentially, and SBG can talk probably way more about this. When a creator creates a map, if you are familiar with the Unreal Engine, you can basically copy and paste your save file and release another map with a couple small minor changes, and you can continue to re-upload the same project file under different branding, different titles, different attempts at barraging your way into the algorithm. And the Epic portal doesn't stop you, doesn't flag you, doesn't limit you from how many things you are uploading, essentially. So what was happening was you would have a creator drop a red versus blue, essentially a spam map, and then do that 5, 6, 7 times. And if one worked, that means the other ones could work. And more often than not, they all did work. And they had hundreds and thousands of players across the same exact map, essentially, but branded differently. And that in its own can open up a world of abuse problems, if you will. But this is something that has happened for how many years, SVG? I mean, since it was created, right? Like FN Create basically came to the game.
Yeah, it's pretty much a side effect of paying people for plays on maps. That's when we really started to first see like this be abused. And like you said, people would make like a 1v1A, 1v1B, 1v1C, and just make all of those different maps. And then you could also steal maps. Like it's a little complicated, but I know people know how to do this within the UEFN space. Literally just copy and paste someone else's map, upload it, and publish it yourself. So what why this is a problem is multiple fold. One, you're republishing someone else's map, so, like, it's not original whatsoever. Secondly, you are guaranteed a certain number of impressions when you upload a map. That's kinda like Fortnite's like, "Hey, when you upload a map, we'll put you a new and updated or a new tab," um, and it gives you about 20,000 impressions is typically what they claim to give you, although I've seen that be contested. Um, so that's 20,000 impressions. There's only so many impressions to go around in Fortnite, and if I'm uploading 150 maps, I'm stealing significant amounts of impressions from other creators that are trying to make maps, and that's became the issue. And then if they never get taken down and say I get 10 players on all of my 150 maps, that's a lot of players and I'm making a lot of money. So you are financially incentivized to do this. So Epic Games basically said like, all right, we hear you guys been complaining. We know it's not as easy. We've been trying to figure this out. We think we have a fix for it. We're going to start rolling this out as of, I think, yesterday or Tuesday, something like that. Um, and now it's game time because that should, one, free up a lot of space for, like, real maps to be able to get a little more spotlight, two, hopefully not have Epic pay these creators that aren't really doing anything other than spamming maps, and then three, have them spend less time on hunting down payments and all this stuff and give the team more time to do more beneficial stuff than just, like, basically finding all these maps and trying to figure out like, okay, this is not legitimate. This is a copy. Let's take this down.
Yeah, and Epic explicitly said they have basically developed some new automated tools to help combat this when it comes to just the upload process in general. And one thing Epic did not too long ago was actually implement some of these AI tools into even the thumbnails. Like if you post a thumbnail that I don't know has like anything that the AI detector on Epic side thinks is like gore or blood or maybe someone attacking someone, which is funny to say because it's literally Fortnite. There's like guns and people are obviously shooting. But in Epic's eyes, no, they're not shooting. They're I don't know. I don't even know what the Epic terminology is, honestly. It's something that keeps
I
their
can
game
tell you what
friendly,
it is.
teen rated. Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, so it's the IARC rating,
That's
which
it.
is that like E teen M or R. Um, so basically you're not allowed you can show weapons in a thumbnail, but the weapons can't be shooting another human-like character. Um, so that's kind of the rules, and that's how Fortnite tries to keep what it is.
Yeah.
But you can also make games that aren't T for teen. Like you are allowed to you have to rate them when you upload them. So you can rate them higher or older than what they should be, and then you're given different things, but then that also limits yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. But that's what happens.
Yeah, so this is inside the Epic upload portal. So again, little background, what is it called? Background baseball, something like that. I don't know what the terminology is. Little background knowledge for you guys, little inside scoop. These are things that already exist in the game. They were implemented, slowly over the years, and now we're getting to this point to where we're gonna have this combat spam map feature likely introduced into the AI as well. That's gonna read your portals and try to eliminate essentially waste, right, and spam from the game. I think this is really good. I have a huge problem with this current state of Epic's entire in-game UI. Their UI, I've said for so long, is absolutely terrible. And the updates they push have not made it any better. I think recently it's gotten a little bit better. They've kind of began to collapse some of the categories, so it looks a little cleaner. But my gosh, there's just too much going on. So eliminating the map types, that sounds like a positive win. I am curious if they're gonna start limiting people from posting similar maps to other people who have creative visions, whether it's titling or otherwise. Because then at that point, we're gonna really see the favoritism kick in. Because there's a lot of favoritism talk already at play here, right? Ali A just dropped the map. He immediately gets inside the home bar. People hate the fact that Ali A has not touched this game in who knows how many years, but puts a game out and a map out and gets put inside basically the number one top seeded discovery slot. And it's not by accident that he gets 20,000 viewers because he is like at the homepage of the game. And in my opinion, I think the community's spot on in saying that we all know there's favoritism inside of this kind of ecosystem, but this is probably the most blatant version of them front load and centering someone like Ali.
Yeah, and I posted something. I was like, "Yo, UEFN people, the game has never been fair. You know better than anyone else it has never been fair. You kind of understand the rules that happen here. Like, use them to your advantage because we've seen this before, right? It's not just Ali. It's oh, here, steal the brain rot's huge. Let's change our entire Fortnite thumbnail on the App Store to include the steal the brain rot character as the like icon for the app. Like it's not just one way or the other. And I know working with other teams, like there's certain UEFN developers that have direct contacts and have easier ins than others. And a lot of people that were complaining, I guess, are some of these people that have like problems. So it is what it is. That's the way the world works. Again, we've talked about this before. It's not fair. Okay, I acknowledge that. It's not going to change though. Like Epic wants to get people to play their game and to play UEFN maps. What happened with Allier? Yeah, it's super scummy. It's basically a copied map, and all they did was throw Allier on it, and then they gave him the home bar, which is the most valuable piece of discovery that you can get. That sucks. Like straight up, if you're a creator, that sucks. But at the same time, Allier could have brought more people into the game because he made videos. He did a whole giveaway, which is also against the rules, by the way. And he then pushed this map. So it's kind of that like two-phase marketing of both in game and then you're getting a huge creator. Um, so I think that will continue to happen. And shout out to whoever that map developer was, because hopefully you get a bag for doing that.
Yeah, I wish I took a screenshot or grabbed the link, but I did see the map dev team behind it actually post about it. Like, holy crap, our game has 20K viewers. Thank you, Ali A, for the like something like that. Like they were just like really excited about how that turned out. And I'm gonna be honest, guys. The first time I knew there was insider, like, kind of, like, positioning, maybe support happening in the creator space. I didn't think it was that blatant until I saw it was actually funny enough, we're gonna be talking about Cypher PK here, but it was until I saw Oni Studios, which is Cypher PK's production company and creative company, make their map, and they were just so frontline, blatantly promo that I think it was the Bed Wars one or Rocket Cars, whatever they created. They created a
Yeah,
game
the
mode.
rocket.
Yeah, they created a game mode and it was just like everywhere in the game, in the discovery. And I'm like, there's no shot. Like, yeah, I know Cypher's got some pull, but this is like some regular, casual, normal game mode. And they were just constantly inside the promoted seats. And I was like, yup, that's the favoritism at play there. It made sense to me that you could just put someone in the algorithm. And I knew from that point onwards, it was about who you know, not just like how good of a dev you are. Or you had to be an OG because some of the OGs also have favoritism, believe it or not. The early adopters, those guys get seeded wonderfully and they have early insight on what's coming up and it allows themselves to kind of position to be successful. So we've seen it happen. It will continue to happen. And these are all the changes happening right now inside of Fortnite Creative. So we'll continue to keep a pulse on what's happening in the game, because man, if there's a place where you have just as much drama as competitive, it's creative, bro. And it's because these guys are shisty. They want the money and they hate that you basically hate watch the other guys who are making money and they can't stand it. So they try to pull each other down all day long. It really is a lot of drama fueled ecosystem, if I do say so myself, at least from the outside looking in. And I'm happy I don't have a dog or a horse in the race. Is yeah, it just sounds crazy. Um, let's hit a couple other quick hits here before we get to the tail end of a comment and a wrap up. Obviously we have season 2 coming up right around the corner. We talked about it. It's dropping next week. I believe you said the 17th. Um,
19.
19th. Is there any leaks that we've seen? I know Adira just got sued, so maybe no one wants to put out no early info, but is there anything that we know that's coming out?
So this was actually there was a couple of comments from the team at Epic. So a Lego focused creator, Fortnite Lego creator, basically said like I've never talked about how I really feel about Fortnite, but it needs some serious changes right now. They're rolling out content across all game modes, but it's too slow. There's a lot of bugs. It's finally fixed, but it's fixed right before the season ends, and then you get a new season, and then there's new bugs. Um, they go on to say the exciting content that used to hugely benefit the game isn't there anymore. It feels like the item shop is the main focus instead of the game itself. Fun modes that people love to play only get 5 to 6 months updates, sometimes a whole year before actual good updates. I love Fortnite, but it doesn't feel like the game I used to enjoy every day anymore. That's Lego Moon Knight on X if you want to go follow them. So then we had Andre Balta, who is working on building the metaverse at Epic. I don't know their title. That's their X profile. He said seeing comments like the item shop is the main focus instead of the game hits me really hard. It's not the impression we want to give, nor how we focus our efforts. We put a ton of work and care into Fortnite's gameplay, and this focus is only growing. Paying the bills frees up our team to continue driving stories and building stuff you love. I'm partnering more with folks like Just Teddy or Ted Timmons. We've talked about him a lot on the podcast to keep your voices in the design room with us as a gameplay first mindset. Keep this feedback coming. Um, so this creator then replies to that, and I'll try and make this short because I'm going a little long winded here, but said, I appreciate you guys. I know there's a lot. Just doesn't feel like the hype's there. Feels like the content's kind of missing. And it doesn't feel like the same game that it used to. Then Ted Timmons responds to that, says, I echo Andre's statements, the guy from Fortnite that I just read. And on the creative side, we are excited to share with you what the team has been cooking up for season 2. There's not long left now, and we have more surprises on the way. Thank you for sticking with us as we extended season 1 to give that extra time in the oven. So, a lot going on there. And I mean, what are your first thoughts?
I think what Andre said, right, who was the first developer that's working on the universe of Fortnite, I think he was being honest about Epic's direction. I do think that it's easy for the user to look at the shop and all the crazy cosmetics and collaborations and think this is what they care so much about. Because let's be honest, it's probably so much easier for them to drop skins at this point. And, like that part of that formula, that piece of the equation was figured out a long time ago. And it's not getting any harder to do that, in my opinion. So I think that's the problem because they've set the bar extremely high and it's replicable. So yes, dropping skins and all that is so easy. And it has such a quality bar that it's easy to say that's their focus. Where Andre's saying, dude, these dev updates that we're doing, this, push for the game and the new mechanics and what we're trying to do in the universe, we absolutely care. And I do believe they do care. And I do Epic think that it has to be a good product first. However, it's way harder to drop updates and do coding and all that stuff. As we all know, as we've all seen, I mean, go to any LAN event in the last freaking 5 years, and even the LAN local servers break. And I've seen the devs work overnight to try to work through bugs and fixes and get stuff ready for the tournament windows. And that's just the server statuses. So again, I say all that to say I do think Epic cares way more about the quality of their product than we give them credit for. But I do think their upload and update schedule is extremely demanding, and it's unrealistic for any regular person to just expect more and faster. It doesn't work like that. It's I think too complicated, too big at this point. And Epic is unfortunately tie their both their shoelaces together, if you will, and that's why they're waddling here because they've kept such a demanding upload schedule.
And I have to kind of agree with the initial take as well from the creator is it feels like the game is being driven by collabs. Like the mythic items are collabs, the main events are collabs, we have whole seasons that are collabs now. And I used to be fine with this, but now it seems like it's getting overwhelming.
Yeah.
Um, I don't want Fortnite to be basically one big ad that they're trying to mix in the gameplay. Like I'm okay if it's one season. Like the mini season we had, I'd be fine if that was the only thing. Um, but it seems like every season there's like multiple like here's the K-pop Demon Hunters re-release of the mythics because we don't really have new content. So we're going to give you some old collab mythics and prop them up in the shop, and then here's another one coming because we don't really have any unique items ready for until season 2. I just it doesn't feel like Fortnite used to, as like Fortnite was the driving force and then they found ways to fit collabs in. Now it feels like the collabs are the game and we're fitting Fortnite into whatever those round pegs square holes are.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great perspective because you could just point to the history, and you're right. All the latest, I mean, updates felt exactly like that. And I think if we're gonna do a season-driven, theme like mini season, like the Simpsons season or whatever, like it has to just be short. Like you said, short and sweet, couple weeks, in and out. Let it take over the universe. Cool. But yes, the game felt so much more nostalgic and real and good when it's all Fortnite lore, right? And I said that before. The game, in my opinion, really lost the plot when we started moving away from the storylines. Like when I just stopped like noticing like what was happening in the story, I was like, yeah, y'all kind of throwing the bag here. Um, I don't even know if the last time I seen an ad with like the Jonesy guy doing anything story related. Like, where's he at? He's supposed to be the star of the show. So anyways, guys, lot happening. Season 2 is around the corner. Let us know what you're excited for. It's gonna come here fast. There's a lot of hype though from the dev team. I gotta give them that. They're setting the expectations up to say this is gonna be something really big, and we think you guys are gonna love it. So maybe they are finally giving us a little breather, and we're gonna get some real Fortnite season on hand here. And that's the best I think we could hope for.
And one more quick thing, because gotta give them credit where credit's due. About when we started recording this episode, they did drop like trailer for the new season. So it says, "Let the showdown begin. Fish stick will return in Fortnite Showdown." And then, Fortnite Showdown is the official name, at least what they've put out, of Fortnite Chapter 7, Season 2, March 19th. So while we said all that, they are doing some stuff. So let's see if things change. And um, we got to give them credit. I guess this is also a good time. Yesterday, they said Save the World will be free in about a month from today. So while we're kind of wrapping up with giving Epic credit with stuff, April 16th, Save the World will be free. That's something they've literally said for like 5 years will happen. So it's finally happening.
Yeah, good. Listen, I always said I think Save the World was a wonderful product. I mean, before we started recording, I told SPG, I heard from someone a while back that like, one man's success is another person's failure. And when you're as big as Epic Games, essentially, if a game mode only has, let's just give them 100,000 players and Save the World. For a small dev team, a normal dev team, bro, you're ecstatic about that. But if you're Epic, if you're Fortnite, you need 1,000,000 players, in kind of that category, or it's probably a huge L. And that's the problem with Save the World. The BR thing took off so crazily. They just stopped caring about it. They had to focus all their resources, and it made sense. Look where it got them now, right? So I love that they're going back, making this a free product, but I really hope they give us some updates. I hope they allow the team that cares about it, 'cause I'm sure there's some people inside of the Epic ecosystem that have been waiting for this moment. Like, dude, get me off this cosmetic shop. Put me in Save the World. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. I want to build the environment. I want to build the zombies. I want to build the creatures. I want to build the story, the art that belongs there. It's so unique. And that is the DNA of Fortnite. It really does lie inside of Save the World. That's where the storm, originated. And yeah, maybe in some ways that's what the game needs. Is a little bit more love back to the roots of the game so we get that feel back. And then yeah, just talking about, big events and all that good stuff. When the update happens, the Fortnite showdown for Chapter 7 Season 2, you will be immune. So the Dark Voyager, it seems like they're allowing him to kind of release some people from captivity of the past, if you will, epic villains, the Fortnite villains, and players will be immune, so you'll just actually be able to enjoy the story. We talked about the ever evolving in-game events. They've only gotten like kind of crazier, and the last one was a huge hit. I think everyone loved the last in-game event. A lot of positive sentiments. So, in some ways, we're at the end of the season, so people get that end of season like burnout and new season hype, the cinematics, the trailers, the events. It tends to revitalize people and make them feel really good going into the season. So, doesn't surprise me that we have burnout a week before the thing is dropping, especially with the V-Bucks changes and all that. Like add a little gasoline, if you will, to the sizzling fire that was going on there. But we'll see what happens with the new season. Any last takes here, SBG?
No, I feel like there's one more thing that went around the competitive space that we should cover, and then we can read some quick comments about people's last meal. So our new favorite streamer to talk about, BloodX, had our Panda's favorite streamer, Boop, on a Discord call, and they were just chilling on stream, um, talking about Cypher PK made a video that he posted about Shark. But I mean, I haven't watched the video, so I'm not going to claim whether or not Cypher's video is good or bad. But BloodX and Boop basically have a critique of, oh, he's just doing React content. Like, he doesn't really know what he's talking about. And then goes on to say, like, yeah, he's got a whole team. Like, he doesn't even know what he's saying. He's just doing like a voiceover. So that kind of made waves, and people were like, yo, like, why we hating, bro? So I don't know if you got a chance to watch the video or the clip. Um, any initial thoughts for you?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I love watching hate watchers hate watch. Like to me, there's just so much entertainment and just watching the the salt seep out of the mouth of Blood X and Boom. They are just pure hating on Cypher PK. They do the same thing Cypher PK is doing, which is do stuff that's going to drive audience to your channel and drive you content. I would be shocked if we could really see and get an honest opinion if Blood X or Boop love doing what they do every day, which is sitting down watching the same Fortnite games verbatim and the same competitive players all the time and dealing with their drama. I doubt they love doing that for a living. However, it's probably entertaining. It probably brings them a little bit of money. So you keep doing it anyways, right? You kind of deal with it. Same thing for Cypher BK, guys. We're all in the same boat. He's doing what he needs to do to drive audience. And you know what? Good for Cypher to spotlight people like Shark. Good for him to use his audience and platform to put a spotlight on those people because he is a much bigger creator. He has a much wider audience. It's people like him that makes people like Shark or even BloodX or Boop relevant. Because if you don't have folks that have transcended beyond the Fortnite crowd and into, larger gaming audiences, dude, you don't have a community to begin with. And Fortnite's too small for these guys to be hating on each other. When you look at the live category, you'd be lucky. The other day, no one had over 1,000 concurrents. Like, Fortnite consumption is at an all-time low, and the player base is still very healthy. So it says a lot about the competitive content that exists out there, and no one's doing it right, and at least Cypher's trying. But I did find it very entertaining. I think they're spot on by saying, like, yeah, what they were saying is true. Sure, Cypher probably doesn't know anything about competitive at an intimate level, but it doesn't mean he can't add value when you go in and watch games and stuff. He does that enough times, guys, he will have as much understanding as anyone else. Like, so don't count him out just because he doesn't know today. 5 more videos from now, he's gonna be spitting some bars probably, and then you're gonna be out because you decided to hate on him, and now ain't nobody gonna be messing with you. They're just gonna watch his stuff because he's a far better entertainer. So it's kind of stupid what they're doing. Because if Cypher wanted to double down, let's just take all their audience from him. Like, that'd be a problem. Like, right? Like, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
That's just what could happen.
Um, and if we had a genuine conversation with the two of them, not on stream, I think both of them would be like, "Yeah, I don't actually mean what I said on stream." Um, that said, you're live, you say things that are maybe a little more controversial or more baity to get engagement, to get these clip channels to clip you and do stuff like this. So I think that's part of why this was said. But I also think there is a little bit of resentment of like, yeah, we've been doing this for years. Like, why is this dude just gonna come in and get like hundreds of thousands of views on a video that we're posting?
Don't step on
Uh,
our territory. We found shark first, bro. We watched Conf here. Like, it's like, what?
but, like, if you genuinely want to support the kid, I'm looking at the video now, like, you can now tag multiple channels in a YouTube video. Cypher's 10 million subscriber channel tags Shark's channel. Like, that
Totally.
is objectively good for the Fortnite player themselves, and we've seen Cypher help blow up different players, like, not that he was the reason that Fortnite blew up, but, like, as Peterbot was blowing up, Cypher PK gave him extra gas. The same for Asian Jeff, the same for Moneymaker. Like, we saw Cypher put in a little bit more juice for some of these Fortnite players as they were coming up, and he's regularly done this. Like, maybe he hasn't done it like super recently according to whatever standard you're gonna set, but he's kind of always done this. And he's said multiple times he loves the competitive side of the game. He just doesn't necessarily have the time nor the know-how to follow it. Um, Also, the clip. So this was my favorite part of this is the two of them are on stream talking, watching an Aussie Antics video, who's watching somebody else's gameplay, and they're criticizing how Cypher PK is watching somebody else's gameplay. Like, are we serious? Like, is this really? I don't know. To me, this doesn't have much to stand on, and I think it's more just like clip baiting slash rage baiting
Yeah.
that we're falling into.
I mean, the whole thing is super comical. You literally have an inception of an inception of an inception there, and they're all literally doing the same thing. But for some reason, they feel like they have this higher power, this upper morality. They just, talk down on Cyber BK, who's just arguably doing the trendy stuff and using this platform for good. So, hopefully, we don't get people hating on him to the point to where he's like, yeah, I didn't need this drama anyways. Like, I'm not going to do that anymore because that is a net negative. And we need more people shining the spotlight. The only people actually, I just went through, YouTube. I'm just looking at numbers. I'm like, all right, what's Ozzy's videos looking like? What's Resub's videos? What's Cypher's average viewers? I mean, Resub is still the king, if you will, as when it comes down to general big numbers, but he's set the highest bar of quality. His numbers are not even near what they used to be. Cypher PK seem to have come down where he was racking a mil a vid. He's definitely way on down, kind of in the Reese level now. And then Ozzy's is down like 50%. So his news drama esque stuff is for sure, not hitting the way it used to be. So yeah, like, audience on YouTube has definitely come down, audience in Fortnite has come down, but like we said, the player base is going up, so this is why you have so much UEFN drama, right? Because that's where all the players are right now. Um, Anyways, crazy stuff happening out there. We'll keep you guys updated. Let us know your thoughts on the drama happening. We're never short of it, that's for sure. Well, we're in the middle of March right now, guys. We're a couple weeks away from, I believe, the FNCS kicking off, so we'll be there before you guys know it, and it's gonna be a fun time, man. So, once again, guys, if you want to get involved in the topics that we're putting out there, maybe you have some topics you want us to talk about, you could drop those in discord.gg/podcast. We have a Fortnite news section. Feel free to get in there. Or in general, if you just want to say what's up, good morning, good afternoon, whatever. We're around. We check it periodically to make sure we get back to y'all. SBG, let's hit a quick comment, man, before we get up out of here. Let's use that Spotify session.
All right.
Dum, dum.
So if you guys want to get involved, last week we asked you, what would your last meal be? If you could pick a meal, and a few of you responded, so we'll read over those. Um, if you missed the top of the show, what Fortnite player do you want to return, or what Fortnite player do you want to see lock in? Were the questions that we asked. So if you want to get involved, go comment on Spotify or go to discord.gg/podcast. So we got a couple international ones coming today, Monster. So Patrick said, love the pod. My last meal would be 2 types of Subways, Pizza Hut mozzarella pizza, large Coke, and some type of chicken bucket thingy from KFC. That's coming all the way from Ireland. So Patrick's doing the Subway, Pizza Hut, KFC combo.
This is funny because it's like, yo, I'm European, but I love that American fast food, baby. Give me that stuff. Love it, love it.
We got Beira. Beira is Nigerian, so they chose their last meal to be fufu and a goosey soup. They said, I grew up having fufu with different soups for dinner every day.
Heck,
No idea what that is, but I would love to try it too.
sounds homemade, baby. Let's go.
We got our boy Gua Brander. If I had to choose one meal to eat every day on my life, it would be pizza. And also ask the question. So we're coming back. If you had to live anywhere outside the US, where would that be?
I know Puerto Rico doesn't count, but I'd love to live in Puerto Rico. I've been to the mountains up there. It's beautiful. So give me something similar. I don't know what other Caribbean-esque, mountainous, beautiful nature kind of islands are out there, but I'm sure there's so many. Give me something like that. It's a chill vibe. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about what this is. I like Denmark during the 3 months of the summer,
Oh yeah.
especially because like, my best friend still lives over there. But I don't know that I could deal with, like, the 9 to 10 months of miserable cold rain.
Winter.
So, maybe Italy. I'll go with Italy. I liked visiting Italy. Italy or Switzerland would be my 2.
Heck yeah.
All right, and we got one more last meal coming in from Craxy. In-N-Out double burger meal with fries and a Dr. Pepper and an In-N-Out chocolate shake. Thank you guys. Appreciate you tuning in, and hope you're enjoying the random question from SPG.
Craxy, jump in Discord. Let me know if you're taking an In-N-Out sauce with it. Just gotta know, man. What kind of man are you? Are you eating them burgers dry, you dirtbag? But no, seriously. Thank you guys for leaving your comments. We appreciate y'all, guys. As always, we are here for y'all. You guys can again jump into the news sections. Let us know if there's anything you want us to cover. Definitely give us a heads up. This week was I don't know, man. We talked a lot at the top of this about V-Bucks and those changes. Very opinionated kind of thing at play here. So hopefully y'all enjoyed a little break from all the hyper competitive stuff. As we kind of get closer and closer to that, there will be plenty more to come. So if you're interested in the in all the Fortnite leaderboard standings and that stuff, don't worry, we'll have you covered here shortly. But SBG, where can the folks at home find you this week?
So I'll give you guys an actual shout out. I need somebody to help me post on Comp Awards FN throughout the year. So if you follow competitive Fortnite, you follow Fortnite in general, you're pretty good at creating tweets that get some good engagement. Um, Give me a DM over on my X account at Comp Awards FN. You will be paid for it. So just let me know and we'll figure it out.
Heck yeah, guys. Well, look, guys, here's your opportunity. You ever want to just like work in Fortnite, get in the space, dip your toes, get out there, dude. Comp Awards FN has a fun community too, man. I've seen this post. Some of them go crazy. Like the Fortnite comp really does interact with the handle, and that's all because SVG built something super special over there. So yeah, man. Best of luck with hopefully finding someone that could fit the bill. For me, guys, you can send all your complaints to me at Monster DFace across any of my social handles. I'd gladly ignore them and check them out at the same time. But until next time, don't forget to dance up those kills and boost those victory royales. Peace, y'all.